Joining us now is author of Feeding the Dragon, Chris Fenton. Chris, tariffs are a tax. They are, in addition to the price of a car or any other item getting tariffed. St. Louis Fed President Masalem saying this week, even before this new round of tariffs, he was saying this is going to add more than a percentage point to PCE inflation, looking at all of the Trump tariff announcements to date. Now, you can say this is leverage to get other countries to lower their tariffs, but this is an added cost to car buyers, is it not?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Warren Buffett would love the fact that this is happening today. I'm sure he's celebrating a bit because back in 2003, he called attention to these massive trade deficits that we're carrying as far as a country. And even back then, we had transferred $2.3 trillion worth of American wealth overseas. Cut to 20 years later, we've transferred another 20 trillion. So if we're ever going to rebalance this dynamic with the rest of the world, we're going to have to put up some trade protectionist policies that are more aggressive than we had in the past. And as far as raising the prices of cars, when you actually raise wages because we're manufacturing those cars here in the United States of America, and on top of it, bringing down taxes because of what the tariffs are bringing in to the United States coffers, you're actually going to see a great equalizer. And you can pretty much guarantee that if you look at China, which has been doing this to us for the past 40 years, and they're in the longest deflationary spike they've had since the 1960s.
Okay, on this capital surplus that we run, which some people like, we are a magnet for investment. Wouldn't that change a lot if our government just stopped running such enormous deficits?
Well, if you're looking at what really we need to be practicing is a policy that protects American workers. Once again, I'm not an economist. I just spent the last 20 plus years working between the U.S. and China and spent a lot of time on the ground in China, watching them practice the policies that allowed us to have an industrial revolution back in the 1800s, thanks to Alexander Hamilton and various others that were involved with putting those policies in place. They played our playbook, and they brought 700 million people into the middle class there while keeping inflation tamed. So I look at the way Trump is thinking about things, the way he's thought about things for the past 50 years, the way Robert Lighthizer and various others that have been in his camp for a long time look towards the policies that he's trying to bring to life. And he's looking to protect American workers and to put us back on a path that's going to put American prowess and progress into the long-term future.
That's the issue with, Chris, this tariff announcement on automobiles, is that it's not doing a universal tariff. That it's a flat tariff across the board, easy, level, fair playing field. It is not a reciprocal tariff. It is a confusing tariff that came out of nowhere, straight from not Bob Lighthizer, who is a principled person, but it came from the Commerce Secretary and then Peter Navarro. And it's jarring because it hits General Motors and it hits Ford potentially because it also hits auto parts. Just so you know that the total domestic content of vehicles in this country, because it also hits auto parts, that Tesla has the highest domestic content of any vehicle manufacturer, and the average is 81%. That's the highest. The second highest is Honda at 63. GM and Ford are barely over 50%. That's the issue with these tariffs.
Yeah, I believe Rivian, which is obviously a smaller company, might be somewhere in second or third there too. But in fact, when you look at Tesla, a major part of their market cap is because of what they're doing in China and what they're manufacturing there for that consumer base. Yep. But let's just bring it back to the United States. I agree with you 100%. I mean, detoxing is not going to be easy. But what happens is you create the right incentives or the right disincentives to create the results you're looking for. So what GM and Ford will have to do, and what they'll be motivated to do, is to try to bring back some of that manufacturing base that's offshore, that's getting penalized. And once they do that, we'll start to see an equilibrium take place that works in favor of the American public. But the fact is, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.